a 5-minute ride. It would be less excruciating if he weren't looking at me with such understanding right now. It's not as if I don't appreciate the rides, I eventually say.
I know you do,
he says.
You've mentioned it, often.
But I really can do this part alone. I squirm, and then I regret it. Squirming is not going to make me look like a person who can get herself to work. He takes his eyes off the road long enough to give me that unfailingly gentle look.
I know you're nervous about tonight.
I sink in the seat. I swear I didn't used to be this transparent. Not that nervous. At his raised eyebrow, I add, 5 out of 10, at most. Because I don't have that much to be nervous about, do I? They're not going to take the family business away. Not when I'm the only member of the family left to run it. And though that doesn't mean I'm above consequences for my mistakes, no one seems to consider what happened a mistake. They call it an incident, an accident. That day, if you're town council chair Lena Russo and too squeamish to use direct language. Tonight is a formality, really. A formality where almost all of the adults in my life gather to determine whether or not I can do, without supervision, the job I've had since I was 8 years old. So, maybe I'm a 6 out of 10.
This isn't a punishment,
Scott says.
You remember that, right?
I know it's not, I mumble. From you, I add silently. But it's not going to happen again, Scott. I don't think one bad day should...
I think one bad day demonstrated that the way we've been doing things wasn't that safe to begin with.
He cuts in, still gentle.
I know you want the council to decide that you're ready tonight. I hope that they do.
My smile feels tired. But
if they do,
he says,
I'm not going to force you to let me keep driving you, Alana. I just hope you'll consider it. Not as punishment or supervision, as backup.
Scott smoothly pulls the pickup into his usual parking space. My morning headache sends a warning pulse right between my brows. I'll think about it, I say. I'm going to say no, of course, but I owe him the thinking about it part. He nods, unbuckling his seatbelt.
That's all I ask.
The narrow beach along Cave's Echo Cove is almost completely inaccessible. The opening from the ocean side is too narrow and rocky to take a boat into, and the only way to get in by land is to take the stairs down the bluff at the back edge of the Stinnett property. The Stinnett family has owned this house almost as long as my family, the Harlows, have been coming to the cove. I've started most mornings since I was 8 years old, unlocking and unlatching their gate, waving to whoever's awake as I cross the backyard. This morning, it's both May Stinnett and her wife Ayako, drinking coffee in their usual spot on the screened porch. May is fully dressed for the day, her close-cropped silver hair glinting in the sun as she nods to me. Ayako, still in her bathrobe and curlers, puts down her coffee to wave. It's not unusual for either of them to wake with the sun, but since my accident, I don't think they've missed a day. I smile, wave, and try not to let their concern itch. Scott follows me as I make my way back through the narrow line of trees, past the fence built to keep May and Ayako's kids from the bluff when they were too young to know better. And finally, we're here. There's a deck chair set back a safe distance from the edge, and as usual, Scott settles in it with a grunt. Sometimes he brings a book. Today it looks like he's going to be content to watch the pink-gray roil of low tide. I move to the steps, resting a hand on the banister. I'm going to head down before Lena gets here. At Scott's look, I raise both my hands. I'll watch my footing.
It's not your footing that worries me,
Scott says. I'll watch the bosses, too. I smile dryly. Want me to tell her you said hi?
You can tell her I said to be good to you,
he says. I smile. She'd only take it as an invitation to be worse. But it's a nice thought, nonetheless. The trees bow against the force of the sea breeze. But the wood under my feet is as solid as...